A cybersecurity breach to an enterprise can have dire consequences. Financial losses, regulatory investigations, loss of intellectual property, reputational costs, legal expense. The list of potential costs is extensive. As a result, cybersecurity is catapulted from being non-existent to the top of most boards' lists of concerns. The frequency of cyber attacks have rapidly increased, and to make matters worse, so have associated costs. Clearly, the directors of today must take their responsibility seriously when it comes to ensuring comprehensive cyber risk policies and procedures have been implemented by enterprise management, and that these policies and procedures are effectively being carried out. Given the known risks posed by these types of attacks, it would be expected that all boards and senior management of today would be proactively taking steps to address these risks. Unfortunately, evidence suggests that there many times are gaps between the actual exposure these cyber risks pose and the steps being taken by many corporate boards to address these risks. Cybersecurity must be a top-down concern that permeates throughout the entire organization, and creating this culture starts with the board. And although different companies may choose different paths to achieve a cybersecure enterprise, the ultimate goal is still the same: to prepare for both the inevitable attack and also for the resulting fallout and recovery from the attack. While there may be a variety of paths to achieve cybersecurity, there are some standard practices that all boards should perform when considering actionable items. Here are some of these practices. 1. Firmly accept the responsibility for cybersecurity. Boards must recognize that cybersecurity is not an IT-only issue, but an overall enterprise issue, and that the responsibility ultimately rests at the feet of the board members. Cybersecurity must get adequate time on the board agenda and have adequate resources allocated to deal with it. Interestingly, regulatory agencies and plaintiff lawyers have become increasingly aggressive in pursuing judgments directly and personally against directors of companies that were breached in part because of apparent board inaction. 2. Set expectations for management and others. Regardless of the board structure as it relates to cybersecurity matters, directors should set clear expectations with management that they will establish an enterprise-wide risk management framework and culture. Adequate staffing and other resources must be allocated to allow management to achieve these objectives. And boards must be regularly briefed about the enterprise cybersecurity issues. These briefings should occur at least quarterly, and if the management of cyber risk is allocated to a committee, the full board should be briefed at least semi-annually. Also, require that an enterprise-wide cyber education program be put into place, as unsuspecting employees cause a very high percentage of breaches. 3. Have a full understanding of the enterprise cyber risk. First, boards must understand all legal risks of cyber breaches. Whether it's due to federal and state laws, regulatory concerns, or litigation costs, these costs can be very substantial. Next, third-party risk must be assessed. Third parties bring significant cyber challenges to an enterprise, and a firm grasp of these challenges must be understood. Boards must also consider new cyber risks that present themselves during times of change, such as mergers or acquisitions. Boards also should have a thorough understanding of the company's most valuable assets and determine the risk that these assets might present if lost due to a cyber event. A broad understanding of risks posed by any substantial new technology should be strived for. 4. Perform an assessment of current cybersecurity policies and procedures. This means the board will need to A. Have a clear understanding of the overall cybersecurity plan relative to the enterprise. B. Make sure existing policies and procedures are effective and are clear and consistent for all employees. C. Ensure that management fully understands its responsibility for cybersecurity. D. Have adequate resources allocated to accomplishing cybersecurity objectives. E. Enlist the assistance of outside resources, such as auditors and consultants, as needed. In the event of a breach, make sure to be able to show that you've had experts in so that you can document your preparedness efforts, as this will increase your chances of successfully defending any resulting lawsuits. F. Make sure enterprise has adequate cyber insurance. Most general liability policies do not cover cyber events, and many D&O policies carve out exceptions for cyber events, leaving board members personally liable. 5. Plan, practice, and rehearse. If a breach does occur, there will be pressure to move very quickly to remediate and recover. Because of this, boards should A. Review management's incident response plans thoroughly. Consider things such as who the decision makers will be, under what circumstances will the public be made aware of the breach, will experts be brought in, will customers be notified, and will law enforcement be called. B. Create a first responders team. Having a few associates with lead recovery roles will help the breach response go much better. C. Have an old-school fire drill. Going through a breach simulation will help you deal more effectively with an actual breach. D. Test your employees through phishing simulations. E. Establish a relationship with law enforcement. This may mean local law enforcement, national regulatory agencies, and the FBI. Responsible, well-functioning boards recognize and respond to new circumstances, and this new and evolving cyber landscape definitely falls into the new circumstance category. Proactive and aggressive board oversight for cyber risk management is critical to prepare for, prevent, and recover from cyber attacks.